Speaker, I have only referred to 1992, 1994, and 2000. And that is not even a fraction of the body of knowledge the ANC has deposited in the body politics, not of this country, but of the whole world. One could have referred to 1912, to 1921, to 1944, to 1955, and any other policy document to drive the mantra of standing on shoulders of giants. However, due to time constraints, I only referred to 3 snippets. Honorable members, the ANC traces the genesis of this noble piece of legislation in these walls of the legislative arm of government to the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th parliaments, lest we allow our minds to refuse to understand. The ANC is in full support of the basic tenets of the Public Service Commission Amendment Bill in front of us as far as the following, amongst others, are concerned. Firstly, the establishment of the PSC Secretariat for full execution of the PSC mandate. Secondly, the affirmation of the independence and impartiality of the PSC as the constitutional entity. And finally, reinforcing the role of the PSC mandate in terms of local government and public entities. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we are convinced that this amendment of the Public Service Commission Bill will, amongst other things, do the following. Firstly, it will strengthen good governance, promote compliance, and improve accountability across the public sector. It will also create the elusive balance between legal rules and ethical values. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we align ourselves as the ANC with the contention that good governance embodies responsible management practices that align with democratic values and efficiency. We therefore call upon the Public Service Commission, as envisaged by this bill, to shine the light on these values. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we are as well party to the fervent belief in the argument as espoused by Young and Northcote, as they argue that accountability in governance builds trust in citizens as they access information about allocation and use of resources. In this age of trust deficit between the citizenry and government, any dose of trust is welcome. In South Africa, honorable members, the new public management framework was only incorporated into government reforms following the 1994 transition, which established governance principles of ethical practices, resource efficiency, and impartial delivery of services. We therefore believe, honorable members, that the empowered PSC will be a needed yeast in governance and accountability, while its ethical conduct is catapulted to higher pedestal. Honorable members, as I conclude, may I remind you once again that 70 years ago, the people of this country proclaimed through their own teeth their demand to govern themselves. We are standing here today as the African National Congress to once more deliver another instrument aimed at changing the material conditions of the people. May we therefore, as this legislative arm of the state, do what the Constitution enjoins us to do and make and act as a real instrument of changing the material conditions of the people of South Africa. We owe it to giants on whose broad shoulders we daily climb to see furthest. Thank you very much.
The Honourable the Minister of Public Service and Administration. The Honourable Minister.
Deputy Speaker.
Honourable Mkalipi, Honourable Minister, please take your seat for a bit.
Deputy Speaker, now there's a cool air, so we can proceed. We can review our earliest decision. Now we can proceed with the work because we are sent by people to represent them here. So the problem is fixed. I propose that let us continue with the work of Parliament, Speaker, and let us review our decision that we take that we must postpone the work of Parliament.
Honourable
I
Kalipi, I would suggest that you first discuss it with your chief whip and then with the chief whip of the other parties. But for now, we will proceed and we will get back to your point later on. The Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much once again, Deputy Speaker, for the opportunity. And I also want to thank all the members of your House for their contributions, which has enriched today's discussion. It is really gratifying, Deputy Speaker, that your House speaks with one voice without any division on an important matter which affects our collective interest. Our thanks also goes to the members of the Portfolio Committee for their work and all active citizens of this country and stakeholders for their contributions in shaping this bill. Siyaqaphela ke futhi nembono namazwi okuxwayisa vela kakhulukazi kozakwethu abaphikisayo nabonakalisa ukubaluleka ukuthi isikhathi esikuso sekufanele ba imithetho esishayayo kungayi nje ngokuthi ibhalwe phansi emaphepheni kodwa ibe namandla okufeza lokho ngoba siyavivinya imithetho kodwa nxa isimithetho ephelele bese ingabe sabana amazinyo okuthi lume kubonakala umehluko sekusezandleni zayo ke iPublic Service Commission ukuthi yenze umsebenzi njengoba sikhipha inxiwa namhlanje. Ngiyabonga endlini yakho sihlalo.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. That concludes the debate. Are there any objections to the Public Service Commission bill being read a second time? No objections. Agreed to. The Secretary will read the bill a second time.
Public Service Commission Bill.
The bill will be sent to the National Council of Provinces for concurrence. The Secretary will read the fourth order.
Consideration of report of Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities on filling of vacancies for the National Youth Development Agency Board.
The Honourable Van der Merwe.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Honourable Deputy Speaker, the National Youth Development Agency has a mandate, that of empowering the youth, tackling the many challenges that affect our youth, and ensuring that they've got access to employment, opportunities, and growth. The youth of our country represents our collective future. Yet the reality is that our nation faces an unprecedented youth unemployment crisis. This stands between us and our future aspirations, and it stands between us and the achievement of sustainable national growth. The Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities therefore believe that youth development must be at the very centre of everything we do. The recruitment process by Parliament of candidates to serve on an NYDA board, therefore, is an important act of governance. The 7 members to serve on an NYDA board is appointed by the President of the Republic on recommendation of this House. Section 91A of the NYDA Amendment Act provides that the board also consists of 2 ex officio members without voting rights, designated by the Minister from the department in an advisory capacity. Parliament advertised for these vacancies on various media platforms and received over 1,400 applications. After a very rigorous process, 20 candidates were shortlisted for an interview with the committee. During the shortlisting, the committee considered the fundamental requirements for the appointment as a board member, as set out in Section 94A of the NYDA Amendment Act, as well as disqualifications set out in Section 10. The committee also focused on matters relating to criminal records And in this regard, the State Security Agency confirmed that none of the shortlisted candidates had a criminal record. Between December 6, 2024 and January 15, 2025, the curriculum vitae of 20 shortlisted candidates were published on the parliamentary website. This crucial step reinforced Parliament's commitment to public participation. The three-day interview process commenced on 25 February 2025 and concluded on 27 February 2025. A quick overview of the demographics of the 9 recommended candidates are as follows. The average age of the recommended candidates is 30. The youngest recommended candidate is 25. Among the recommended candidates is 1 person with a disability, 1 non-binary candidate, 3 females and 5 males. In terms of qualifications and work experience, 2 candidates are holders of PhDs, but also as a collective, they represent a wealth of experience in youth development and include qualifications in law, education, economics, and international relations. After careful consideration, the committee unanimously agreed on 9 suitable candidates to recommend to the President for the establishment of a new NYDA board to serve for the next 3 years. And their names are as follows. Ms. Kelly Sandra Baloy, Ms. Tembisile Precious Maua, Dr. Wiseman Mfaniseni Mbata, Mr. Bonga Sipasitle Makanya, Mr. Sibosiso Makatini, Mr. Ifran Mangera, Dr. Sunshine Minentle Miende, Busisiwe Nandipa Ngumalo, and Mr. Pabiso Nicholas Niati. The Portfolio Committee unanimously endorsed the process as fair and unanimously declared the process as one that delivered on our aspirations of finding the very best, most capable and most suitable candidates. The recommended candidates are representative of our demographic and geographic spread of the Republic, and the Portfolio Committee is confident that all the candidates recommended for appointment are fit and proper persons. The candidates are not only experienced professionals, but they will bring a wealth of knowledge, expertise, and passion to serving young people. On behalf of the Portfolio Committee, I would like to say to all young people who applied, thank you for being patriotic, and thank you for your determination to serve your nation. By completing this work, Parliament has demonstrated its deep and unwavering commitment to the youth and affirms that their concerns are indeed our concerns. I now have the honour on behalf of the Portfolio Committee to ask this House to consider, support and adopt this report. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable van der Merwe. I will now recognise political parties wishing to make a declaration. The usual time for declaration of votes will apply. The DA.
Deputy Speaker, the Democratic Alliance knows the report before us today and wish to state that the committee is satisfied, as per the report read, that we have complied with all the advertisement criteria for the candidates considered to be shortlisted. Amongst them is that they must broadly reflect the demographics and geographical spread of the Republic and must be a South African citizen between the ages of 18 and 35 years, have relevant knowledge, expertise, experience or qualification in youth development, social development, financial field, legal field, or any other field considered necessary for the advancement of the agency's mandate. Be allowed to finish their term of office if they turn 35 years whilst in office, and be committed to advance vision, mission, goal, objectives, values, and principles as enunciated in the National Youth Policy. It was inspiring to observe a huge number of young people participating in the nomination process, a process that was transparent. The advertisement also went out for public comment. The committee then conducted interviews, which were also aired on various social media platforms. It was encouraging also to witness young people across the country commenting on the performance of the candidates on social media. This was an indication that young people are taking ownership of their lives and they want their views to be registered on who should represent their interests. We are of a firm view that the names submitted today meet the criteria. We are confident that committee will also receive a resounding approval from young people who followed the process, because as a committee, we took it upon ourselves to ensure we recommend candidates based on merit. The Democratic Alliance has always maintained a stance that the NYDA should be scrapped, because for a longest time, the ANC has used the NYDA as its cash cow, preventing young people from participating fairly in the economy of this country. The use of NYDA to benefit the few connected individuals ends in this term of the 7th Parliament. We still do not support the NYDA based on reasons mentioned above. However, Deputy Speaker, it is the duty of this board, which is about to be appointed by the President, to do justice to the agency and to prove that this agency has an ability to create young entrepreneurs and find jobs for young people across the country with the stakeholders the agency has established relationships with. We expect the board members to roll up their sleeves and use all available platforms to ensure every young person in this country is aware of this agency. And there's at least a number of young people that can identify with each candidate as someone having helped them start a business, develop a business plan, or support a youth-led NGO. This will assist us as a country to reduce the unemployment rate, which is currently sitting at over 45% for young people between the ages of 15 to 35 years. We also expect this board to reach out to young people in the deep rural areas of Platrand in Likwa, situated in Mpumalanga province, in Ingwavuma and Jozini, situated in KwaZulu-Natal, in Gampahlele, situated in Limpopo. These are some of the areas where our vulnerable are found and have always been forgotten. Young persons with disability, living with albinism, and young persons on the street should be empowered via this agency. During these interviews, Deputy Speaker, it came up often that social media should be utilized to its maximum because the majority of young persons are now using social media as part of their daily
Honourable
lives.
Member, please take
If
your
the
seat. There's a
citizens
point of
the
order.
USA
Honourable Kanyile, please take your seat. Yes, Honourable Member, on which point are you rising?
Yeah, I think the member is using numbers from Stats TA, not Stats SA. Can she take a question?
Honourable Member, are you willing to take a question?
No, Deputy Speaker.
She is not prepared to. Please proceed, Member.
During the interviews, it came up more often that social media should be used to its maximum because majority of young persons are now using social media as part of their daily lives. If the citizens of the USA can get paid for utilizing TikTok, we want to see young people within our country being paid for being content creators. This agency is expected to make sure that all these things are possible. We will be keeping a very close eye on this board to ensure they deliver on all their commitments they have made. We support the report.
The MK.
Madam Honorable Deputy Speaker, honorable members, as Umkhonto weSizwe Party, we recognize in Pillar 4 of the People's Mandate that we need to remove any challenge that suppress youth-owned businesses. We also recognize the need to diversify the economy to support the application and inclusion of youth-owned businesses. Honorable members, it goes without saying that in a country where youth unemployment is at an all-time high, opportunities for young people in this country are far and few between. The NYDA is an agency that is too big to fail. The governance of such an important institution is one that cannot be marked by the corruption, looting, and inefficiencies that haunt many of our state institutions. If we are serious about the young people of this country, it is only fitting that we send the most capable, talented, and dedicated individual to sit and plan programs aimed at the millions of South African young people. Candidates who have proven to all of us sitting here today that giving young South Africans access to opportunities is all that they need to flourish. The late Sanamile Masango, a young black woman from Kwanongoma who became South Africa's first black nuclear scientist, is a proof that the South African young people are brilliant. The NYDA as a driver for youth development must never be used as a political tool that rewards young people for their association with a certain political parties, to the exclusion of the many brilliant young South Africans. There are South Africans who can better serve agency. As Umkhonto weSizwe Party, we have noted with reservation some flaws in the process of selecting the young people who are to serve on the board of agency, particularly the lack of independence in scoring that results in preconceived outcomes. Youth development must be fair for all youth of the country, not beneficiaries of the GNU. We recommend that the legal framework be defined and include clear guidelines on the age criteria to ensure that participants are not disqualified based on the unfair treatment for those participants who turn 35 years old during the process. We recommend that the recruitment and shortlist for interview process is done independently to avoid the politicizing of this process and the agency, and to give all applicants a fair chance. We recommend that we exercise stronger oversight to the agency, oversight of the agency. We cannot have this agency associated with corruption, non-compliance with the PFMA and other irregularities committed by those who sit and serve on the board. Honorable members, young people are the future. It is time that we take them seriously and build them a future they deserve. Gwaza Mkhonto Gwaza.
Your time has expired.
Gwaza Mkhonto Gwaza.
Honourable member, your time has expired. The EFF.
Thank you very much, Speaker. My name is Sishelodze, a member of Parliament deployed by the Economic Freedom Fighters. We have all seen the news of people who tried to cheat this process. They even admitted to illegally benefiting monies from municipalities. They admitted to falsification of their certificates and degrees. The people of South Africa and the youth must thank the EFF for exposing the rot in the NYDA. If it was not for the EFF, the NYDA board interviews were not going to be robust, they were not going to be fair, and they were not going to be transparent. The reality is that if the people of South Africa did not even know that these interviews were taking place until the participation of the EFF. Even when some unintelligent and unsophisticated MPs of the ANC tried to protect corruption, we defeated them and we removed the rotten potatoes from the shortlisting process. But we must be clear to the people of South Africa, this process was more than just about exposing corruption. This process is about the youth of South Africa, the unemployed hustlers and survivors, the youth that roams our streets with graduation gowns, the unemployed doctors, the bottle girls, the youth drowning in drugs, alcohol and depression. Many of them have stopped looking for jobs. They have stopped being creative and innovative because their creativity is ignored and their innovation is stolen by the same entity that is supposed to fund them. These are young people, not just statistics. They are human beings full of hope, full of dreams and full of potential. It is a lie that they are lazy. Majority of them work very hard. They study very hard and they have the necessary skills and competence. But you ignore them because they are not politically connected. They don't call you leadership. They don't wake up in the morning to defend your shenanigans. They don't carry your water. They don't fetch your ice. They don't sleep with you for employment and positions in government entities. Now we're going to give the new board members very clear and simple advice. Number one, it must remove all offices of the NYDA in inaccessible suburbs and take it to the township and the rural areas. Two, they must streamline NYDA processes, reduce the bureaucracy and make it easy for young people to access funding. Three, they must strengthen partnership with other government departments and non-government organizations to increase internship, job and entrepreneurial opportunities. Four, they must enhance the transparency and accountability by regularly publishing impact reports because no one knows what the NYDA does in South Africa. Five, they must review all salaries because at some point the NYDA was paying more than 50% of its budget on salaries. That is irresponsible and financially unsustainable. We hope that we have made it clear to you that no matter how powerful you think you are, the EFF will hold you accountable. The NYDA does not belong to the ANC. The NYDA does not belong to the ANC Youth League. It belongs to all the young people of South Africa. The days of impunity are over. The days of corruption are over. The days of eating alone while young people die from hunger are over. We have kicked the table and we are going to continue to kick it as long as we sit alone in the dinner table. The NYDA belongs to all South Africans, not the cronies of the ANC. Thank you.
The IFP.
Madam Speaker, Deputy Speaker, we present to you the former President of the Steering Command, President Seke.
Honourable member of the IFP, please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The IFP welcomes and fully supports the process of the new NYDA board, following a selection process that was fair, open and transparent. For the first time since its establishment, Parliament has demonstrated collective commitment and unity in selecting candidates based purely on merit. This process has ensured that only the most capable, qualified and committed individuals has been entrusted with the responsibility of taking the NYDA forward. The IFP has always maintained that young people deserve an agent that is not a political playground, but a dynamic institution that truly empowers the youth of South Africa, irrespective of political affiliation, background, or economic status. The recommended candidates have the historical opportunity to redefine the NYDA into a stronger, more effective, and a robust institution. As the IFP, we stand firm in our commitment to the youth of South Africa and wish the candidates well. In consideration of the all above, the IFP accepts the report. I thank you.
The PA.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honourable members, The recommended list of candidates is a true reflection of the diversity of our country, ensuring that all geographical and demographical regions are represented and as outlined in Section 9(4) of the NYDA Act as amended Act 11 of 2024, the committee has taken into account critical factors such as gender parity and the inclusion of women and persons with disabilities in the selection process. Being part of a process where young people showed interest in putting up their hands to help reshape, empower, and build the future we see for ourselves was one step closer to becoming the generation we hope to be. As the committee extends its gratitude to all candidates who participated in the interviews and expressed their appreciation for the diligent work of the support staff who facilitated this process, we remain confident that these recommendations will contribute to the continuous success and growth of the NYDA. In conclusion, I will say again, we have seen way too many dreams die prematurely. We have witnessed great ideas thought of that never manifested. And we have seen how how tables can be turned when all we really needed as young people of this country is a chance. Thank you.
FF Plus.
A declaration, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Action SA.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Action SA welcomes the nomination to fill vacancies on the National Youth Development Agency Board. And while we acknowledge the urgency of having a functional board, we must do so with caution. It is imperative that the selection process is refined to eliminate political interference and ensure that the board operates independently and in the best interests of young people in South Africa. To improve the agency's performance, measurable and transparent targets must be established to clarify the exact mandate of board members, enabling effective performance management. And further to this, there must be strict consequence management and robust oversight to prevent past failures and ensure the agency operates efficiently and with some sort of accountability. As Action SA, we remain concerned about the NYDA's effectiveness and its ability to meet its objectives. As such, we urge the incoming board members to restore the NYDA's credibility by delivering tangible results, achieving its mandate, and proving that it is more than just a political tool. To achieve this, the board must play a proactive role in integrating young people into the economy by addressing poverty, combating crime, and promoting social cohesion. This requires a stronger focus on skills development, entrepreneurship support, and the National Youth Service Program. These initiatives must not be limited to urban areas, but it must be expanded to the most rural and underserved communities, something that has been sorely lacking within this agency, and it must change. South Africa's youth deserve a functional and effective agency, and we as Action SA will hold this board accountable and ensure that this happens. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
ACDP.
Honourable House Chairperson, as we consider this report, the ACDP underscores the need for a functional, efficient, skilled and committed NYDA board. This board has the mandate to initiate, design, coordinate, evaluate and monitor all programs aimed at integrating our youth into the economy and society in general. The filling of the vacancies for the NYDA board comes at a crucial time for young people in South Africa. Many have become despondent, staying away from the polls at large numbers. Youth unemployment stands at some 45.5%, impacting economic participation and overall development of young people. Furthermore, many young people lack employable skills, which is exacerbated by scarce job opportunities. The ACDP calls on the newly elected board to develop programs which, number one, closes the mismatch gap between youth unemployment and job market demands. 2, focus on giving young people access to quality education and training, curb high school dropout rates and improves weak educational systems, and 4thly, address issues related to mental health, bullying, homelessness and gangsterism. Honourable House Chairperson, The ACDP is concerned by the sudden elevation of a non-binary gender category. We are not satisfied that this board adequately represents the demographics of South Africa, despite due legislative process being followed regarding the public participation and shortlisting process. However, with these reservations, the ACDP supports the report. Thank you.
UDM.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. The UDM is in support of the recommendations made by the Portfolio Committee for the appointment of the 9 candidates to the NYDA board. We commend the committee for ensuring the diversity and inclusivity of the chosen candidates, which reflects the demographic and geographic spread of our country. It is encouraging to see that the list includes women and persons with disabilities, demonstrating a commitment to fairness and equity. While we fully support the inclusivity, we must also make it clear that there are roles and responsibilities the new board must prioritize. The youth of South Africa face critical challenges, and we expect the board to focus on empowering young people, particularly by creating greater access to education, employment, and entrepreneurial opportunities. These efforts must target the most disadvantaged areas and rural communities. Honorable Deputy Speaker, isikhalo sikhulu kakhulu phaya phansi ngendlela i-NYDA esebenza ngayo. Bathi uncedo alufikeleli kubantu okufanele lufikelele kubo. Ngokukodwa xa iza kumba wokuba kukho amahle athi kufuneka umuntu omtsha abe kwipati ethile ukuze afumane uncedo. Umnqweno we-UDM kukuba le board intsha iwuqwalasele lo mba. Additionally, the board must promote youth participation in governance and policy making. South Africa's youth must feel empowered to influence the future of their country, and the NYDA should serve as a platform for this. I thank you.
Thank you. Rise.
Deputy Speaker, I rise to support the work of the Portfolio Committee. It's actually great to hear that the report was unanimously agreed by all the members in the committee. And when one is sitting there to hear members of this House supporting the report, it's very good, which means that it's a strong mandate to the incoming board of the NYDA, that you have the support of the House of Parliament to do your work of youth development. Whilst we support this report, there are just a couple of things that we need to make clear. I think it's unfair, and it will be unfair, that the entire weight of solving the youth unemployment problem that we have as a country is placed on the NYDA. Considering that the NYDA has got a budget of less than R1 billion, we need to be realistic. One of the mistakes of the NYDA has always been to chase after the numbers and not the impact. One of the things that we want the NYDA to do is to focus on the impact and not chase the numbers. This thing of just giving young people R1,000 and R5,000 and you say you are assisting them to start businesses must come to an end. If you want to assist young people that are going to start businesses, give them upward of R1 million. What's the use of giving young people R5,000 and R10,000 and you say go and create jobs? Which job has been created by R10,000? So if you want to have serious youth development, let's support young people with real funding and not give them 5,000 rand and 10,000 rand. And let's not chase numbers, let's chase impact. We support the report.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Bosa.
Deputy Speaker, we want to acknowledge the work of the committee and to support the report. But it would be amiss of us to not use the platform and the opportunity to recognize the fact that the NYDA has historically, to date, failed the young people of this country. There's no question about that. Young people in this country are unemployed. They have close to 70%, by the expanded definition, unemployment in this country. They are unemployed, they are desperate, they are lacking opportunities while the NYDA exists. And the NYDA was established as a vehicle to actually address these issues, not as a vehicle for patronage and wasteful expenditure. So the board that is ultimately going to be appointed has got to make sure that there is reform in the NYDA, that the inefficiencies that plague the NYDA are addressed, and that really we start to increase the youth entrepreneurship rates in this country. Because it's an indictment on this country that we have one of the lowest youth entrepreneurship rates in the country, and we have an institution that is supposed to champion economic opportunities for the young. So while we support the recommendation of appointments, the House must recognize that appointing a new board alone is not what's going to fix the crisis, that the NYDA needs urgent reform, and that the mandate must be refocused, it must be accessible, it must be relevant, and most importantly, this leadership has got to be held accountable. Thank you.
ATM. Not present. Al Jamar.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Al Jamar supports the report.
Thank you. NCC. Not present. PAC. Not present. UIT.
No declaration.
Thank you. Good. Not present. ANC.
Adibongwe. Bongwani.
Thank you so much, Chairperson and honorable members and fellow South Africans for the opportunity. One would like to appreciate, as the African National Congress, the commitment that was given by young people of this country. For those young people who rose and chose this opportunity and took this baton to say they were going to lead economic and social development of young people, pushing forward the agenda of excellence, development, inclusion, and integration of young people across South Africa. As the African National Congress, we have diligently promoted youth development and integration. We have always integrated the economic and social access for young people. As the African National Congress, we also highlight and recognize some of the deficiencies that still persist in society, and hence why we emphasize the importance of the NYDA. We also would like to appreciate the candidates who stepped forward, those who were shortlisted, and those who put themselves through the rigorous process of interviews, also being put on the public platform for scrutiny. We appreciate their resilience and them opening themselves with their skills, with diligence and commitment to pushing forward youth development. As the African National Congress, we firmly believe that youth development should be at the core of our agenda as a country, and this is enshrined in the NDP. In the NDP, we seek to ensure economic and social emancipation for young people, understanding that they are the drivers of our future. They must be the defenders of our democracy. Since the establishment of the NYDA, we have seen significant progress, not at the rate in which we wish to have seen it at, but yet we have seen opportunities being granted through grant and service opportunities. We have seen skills development training, Additionally, through the last administration and the last board that is now stepping out, we have additionally seen collaborative effort with government institutions and the private sector. The agenda of young people cannot be achieved only by this institution, which plays a very pivotal role in society. It can only be achieved through collaborative effort with the private and the public sector. And that's why, as the African National Congress, we call upon all institutions, both government and the private sector, to play their collective role and responsibility in driving the youth development agenda. The NYDA has additionally contributed towards youth policy and legislation that seeks to ensure the developmental progress of young people in this country, pushing forward policies and legislation that seek to drive the narrative and promote the rights of young people across the continent and across the world, creating opportunities of exposure, opportunities of academic excellence, opportunities of entrepreneurship and skills development training. Now, the board that is coming in has a heavy task ahead of it, and it will not be the first or the last board to have a responsibility of this nature. Now, we must understand that unemployment is not only the responsibility of the NYDA. Unemployment cannot be put on the shoulders of NYDA. Unemployment lies upon each and every single sector in society, both roles coming from the private and government. We must understand that the NYDA needs to be reinforced and capacitated with the necessary resources and the teeth for it to ensure that there is accountability. We also would like to congratulate the candidates that have been recommended. These candidates are vibrant, they have skills, they have resilient. Not only that, the demographic groups that are represented here shows that we are heading in the right direction. As the African National Congress, we firmly believe in promoting diversity and inclusion and leaving no one behind. There shall be no young person who's left behind. The NYDA's responsibility is to ensure its services and products reach young people in remote rural areas. There should not be a young South African who is unaware of the operation, the work, and the services provided by the NYDA. And therefore, this responsibility will be upon the incoming board, and we wish them all the best. Additionally, I would like to speak to Honorable Lonzi, who has made it a point in this House and during the proceeding of the Portfolio Committee.
Order.
To politicize the process.
Honorable
We must understand that this
Honorable member at the podium.
of young people. We cannot.
Honorable members, order. Honorable Chauke.
Politics.
Honorable Chauke, there is a point of order.
Favor at the expense of young people.
Honorable Chauke.
For young people.
Honorable Chauke, please take your seat.
For the emancipation empowerment of young people.
Please take your seat, honorable member. There is a point of order. I first had one from the EFF. Yes, honorable member, what is your point of order? Honorable, yes, yes, I hear you. What is your point of order?
Deputy Speaker, the member on the podium can't debate the individual member in the name of President Sihlelozi. He must debate the report. She's not going to finish her speech. You're going to put the president here.
Honorable member, that is not a point of order. We are busy with declarations and debate. Honorable Skosana, what is your point of order?
Yeah, don't tell us what to debate.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I'm rising in terms of Rule 69. Grossly disorderly conduct. What honorable members of the EFF are doing is grossly disorderly conduct, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Skosana, that is for the presiding officer to determine. We will now proceed. Honorable Chauke, you have 50 seconds left. Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. And I do understand why the EFF members are aggravated. Honorable Lonzi, that stage resources are adequately allocated to young people who are deserving.
Okay, please take your seat.
Who are unable to pay back the loan,
There's point of order.
to finish his qualification and dropped out, leaving deserving people. Yeah.
Deputy Speaker. Honourable Lakudi, you've had your hand raised. No. Yes, Honourable Member. Yes, Deputy Minister.
Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Arise.
Honourable members.
Order.
Honourable members, Honourable Deputy Minister, before you proceed, you expect other members to listen when you have a point of order, but you don't afford them the same courtesy. Please remain orderly, Honourable Deputy Minister.
Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I rise on a point of order in that the member is being howled. There's a lot of howling and it's drowning the member. That is against the rules. That's one. Secondly, it is so unfortunate that women on the other side of EFF are shouting and howling at a young woman on the podium that is supposed to make a point. And I think they're out of order. It's shameful on them.
That is not a point of order, but the behaviour is unacceptable. Honourable members, you want other people to listen to you, but you are not prepared to do the same. We will now proceed. Honourable Chauke, please conclude your declaration.
Thank you very much. I emphasize that Honourable Lonzi must go and pay back the NASFES.
Honourable Chauke, please take your chair. There is another point of order. The Honourable Mente.
Yes, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, we can't have a member.
Order, Speaker, order.
That I'm saying that.
Speaker, order.
Honourable members, without addressing you. Anyone who's speaking to the House, they speak to you. But also, you can take a point of debate and make it personal. Once you start attacking an individual call an individual by name, you are inviting Honourable member. You must not point of order. I am warning you. I'm switching with the microphone.
Honourable members, we will now proceed and finalise this debate. I'm not taking any more points of order. It is on the exact same issue. I have ruled, Honourable Tlangwini, I have ruled that the Honourable Speaker at the podium will now conclude. And there will no be further frivolous points of order. Honourable Chauke, please conclude.
She has 2 minutes to conclude.
Thank you. And I had wished that young people, we should not utilize platforms of this nature to come and berate each other, but I will withdraw, Honourable Lonzi, and respect you. Young people of South Africa, do not let cheap politics undermine you. Do not let them discourage you from putting yourself forward in leading youth development.
Honourable members.
It is your responsibility as young people to ensure that we are driving this country in the right direction. Now we have all the policies to guide us, and through your advocacy in the NYDA, a responsibility will be given upon you. And as members of the Portfolio Committee, we will work and walk side by side with you.
You have 2 seconds left. Honourable Mente, there is a point of order.
Deputy Speaker, we can't allow a situation where people are giving conditional withdrawals. A person must withdraw out of order.
Honourable
We can't allow a conditional withdrawal.
I'm now withdrawing. Honourable members, I am now dealing with this matter.
Christmas of withdrawal. We'll never withdraw.
Honourable members, I did not instruct the Honourable Chauke to withdraw. She did that out of her own volition, and then she can put conditions. We will now proceed. Honourable Chauke, you have exactly 1 second.
We must be insulted. We are going to withdraw. Deputy Speaker,
as the African National Congress,
please recognize
as
me.
the African National Congress, we hereby support the report and the recommendation of these candidates.
Honorable Chair. Expired. Honorable Ntlangwini, what is your point of order?
And what are you afraid of?
Honorable Ntlangwini, what is your point of order? I am recognizing you.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I can't believe that all of that fight was for Swelo. They didn't even qualify and never had qualification.
Deputy Speaker.
That is a shame.
Microphone. Honourable members, we will now proceed with the rest of the proceedings. We have now had all the declarations. The question before the House is that the following list of candidates be recommended for appointment by the President to serve as board members in the National Youth Development Agency NYDA board.
Deputy Speaker.
Honourable members, I am not taking points of order now. This is
But
now
you have
becoming...
not been seeing us, Deputy Speaker.
Honourable member, this is now becoming embarrassing for the young people of this country. That Parliament is behaving in such a manner.
Speaker, what must be condemned is the wild animal behavior we are experiencing from this.
Honourable member, that is out of order. Please withdraw that. That is absolutely out of order. I'm not taking any further points of order. Deputy Minister, I'm not taking points of order. We will now proceed to honour this whole process, and I must say that it is shameful that Parliament is behaving in this way when young people are watching us. This is an embarrassment, but we will proceed. Now, Honourable Deputy Minister, I'm not taking a further point of order on this. I will restart. The question before the House is that the following list of candidates be recommended for appointment by the President to serve as board members of the National Youth Development Agency, the NYDA board, for a period of 3 years. Ms. Kelly Sandra Beloy, Ms. Tembisile Precious Mahua, Dr. Wiseman Mfaniseni Mbata, Mr. Bongo Sepeshishle Makanya, Mr. Sibusiso Makatini, Mr. Irfan Mangera, Dr. Sunshine Minenshle Miyende, Ms. Busisiwe Nandipa Ngumalu, and Mr. Kabisu Nicholas Hinyati. Are there any objections? No objections? Agreed to. And the list of candidates will now be forwarded to the President for consideration. Order. Members, I request you to stand and wait for the presiding officer and the mace to leave the chamber. That concludes the business of the day, and the House is adjourned.
Zwelo has fallen. Zwelo, youth league treasure has fallen. Yes, fallen. Zwelo. Asinalo uzwelo. No zwelo. Uphelile nga.
I see why Flat left the EFF. So your only program was Zwelo. What EFF?